and that was this. So Gordon Chang, Gordon Chang is like one of the resident anti-China voices of the American media. So he's on Fox Business, CNBC, all these networks, and he's one of the larger voices of the anti-China movement and commentary. So he's been in debates. If you look on YouTube, you can find him. He's been in debates with people before, and he's just the first guy to critique China. In fact, if you go to his profile, take a look. It says Gordon G. Chang, author of Plan Red, China's project to destroy America, the coming collapse of China, and China is going to war. Very interesting. So he's been saying this for a long time. See, even an hour ago, he put Americans must prepare for the worst. Our enemy is here and ready to strike. What is going on? Yeah, anyway, this is not the part I wanted to discuss with him. I wanted to discuss this post. So, Comrade Jackson Hinkle, shout out to him, he posted this video here, or this comment. Breaking. More and more Chinese apartments with planned fourth generation Chinese style balconies are popping up all over the nation. China is proof communism works. Okay? Just mute the music, but if you see here and take a look at the, I guess this is a new development. It looks beautiful. It's so clean and nice big balconies and everything. I'm not sure where this is, but it looks very nice. And Gordon Chang's comment on this was communism works? Question mark. Communism is the only system where developers build more flats even when there are already enough vacant ones for at least the entire population of 1.4 billion people. That was what Gordon Chang said. Now, for those who aren't as familiar with Jackson Hinkle, Jackson Hinkle is a member of the American Communist Party. I think he actually might be on the Politburo of the American Communist Party, and if I'm wrong about that, if you'll please correct me in the comment. But Jackson Hinkle consistently will post comments. I think he lives in Russia now, but he will post comments on X about different things going on in China, for example. And one of the things that he'll post about happens to be that, there's a lot of building going on. There's a lot of technological advances, just things of that nature. And he usually ends the post with a comment such as, China is proof communism works. China is proof communism works. He usually says that at the end of all of his short posts about what's going on over in China. So Gordon Chang is mocking that and questioning that through his comments, basically saying that, oh, it's a bad system because they have so many homes, the overabundance, that it is, that's not proof that it works. Now, my comment, to him was simply, good. Then prices are suppressed and there's homes for everyone in excess. Try buying a home here lately. Now, I just want to point out, there's a couple of things wrong to me with Gordon here. Number one, saying that there's an abundance of homes is not proof that communism doesn't work. Second of all, he's basically giving you a major tell and giving away the way that he feels and the way that he thinks about the purpose of real estate. The purpose of building and real estate in the Western, especially in the American capitalist mind, right? It's about how do we make the most money. So just building things that are half empty and that you can't flip on the market. In New York City, building a building that's half empty is cool because it's all about the real estate. If you own the land and you build a skyscraper and you have it a quarter filled, it doesn't really matter because rent on its own is not what's going to pay the bills. It's the speculative asset. And the idea is that when you increase the value of the property and the building is worth X amount of money, then you flip it on the market and make money, right? That's really the goal. It's speculating on the asset. You could also then borrow against the value of that asset. Now, in a place like China, the goal is to house people. Let me say that again. The goal is to house people. So in America, we have a poverty of abundance, right? We have lots of housing. Maybe we need more, but we have lots of housing. People just can't afford it. The overfinancialization has made it out of reach for people to get into homes. There are apartment buildings. Some of them are new. Some of them are old. Some of them are big. Some of them aren't. There are houses. Some of them are big. Some of them are old. Some of them are whatever. Amenities, no amenities. People just can't afford them. They can't afford the house. Nobody has the savings to put a down payment down, and most people can't afford the monthly payment on the mortgage. And even a 50-year mortgage that's been floated by the president, that will reduce the per month cost. That's true, but probably not by enough. So, but what is the goal in the Western mind? And I think this is part of the bias that Gordon Chang has. He's saying, "Oh, it's terrible. You have all these homes." Well, they don't have homelessness in China for a reason, and the cost of living in China is low for a reason. And there's an abundance of buildings, an abundance of apartments. Well, that's great because that means that even if somebody wanted to raise the prices, they couldn't because the competitive market for the buyer is strong because all they have to do is go to another building. So his bias, his bias against China and against the government there is that there's an abundance of things. There's abundance. And I'm sure he would probably say the same thing about food. Well, food is cheap because there's a lot of it. And the ability to produce it, the ability to build allows the cost and the prices to be suppressed. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. And you know why you have a society that believes in that system? Do you know why? Well, yes, Confucius believed in order and it believed in organization in order to achieve peace and harmony. And you have Buddhists and you have Taoists and all that. But do you know what else is part of that society? A large part of that society? Communism. Real communism. Not the fake kind that we have with Bernie Sanders and AOC. Bernie Sanders, who takes $23 million in pharmaceutical money in donations. Okay? Bernie Sanders, Mr. $23 million in campaign money, a millionaire from Brooklyn who's a senator in Vermont. Bernie Sanders, the ultimate fake communist. Or Zoran Mamdani, a socialist who hates socialist states, hates Cuba, hates Venezuela. How do you hate those places if you're a socialist? I don't understand that. I can understand you can have disagreements with the government. I have no problem with that. That's your opinion. But how can you principally hate those places as a socialist if you're a socialist? See, that's what we get in the West. We get the fakes. China's the real deal. A real communist government setting up a system where the people have housing. And if communism doesn't work in real estate, then why do over 80% of Chinese people own their own home? Americans, the average American buyer doesn't own a home until they're 40. And home ownership amongst Americans is plummeting. People can't afford it. So how can you say it doesn't work? This is what happens when you're a professional grifter and you're just stoking the flames. It's just terrible. Anyway,